I've got something you'll be interested in. Those performance upgrades we discussed after the last race. They're on the car and the data looks promising. Take a look at the details.
That's all we need for now. Return to the garage pronto. Fantastic lap. That's beaten our secondary target time.
A Haas and Nico Rosberg. Thank you for joining us for free practice today. We'll be back with more Formula One action very shortly.
Hey, looks like you've got a bit of rivalry going on out there. This is good. Gets people talking about you. Just make sure you outperform them, okay? Hi, just letting you know that we've had the team's expectations through for the upcoming qualifying session.
The pit lane will be open shortly, which means it's nearly time for qualifying for the Italian Grand Prix here in Monza. When it comes to getting lap time out of this circuit, it's traditionally been about maximising top speed. Do you simply remove as much downforce as possible, hang on into the corners and max out down the straights?
Top speed is a key factor for this circuit. Even if you can achieve the same lap time as someone running less wing than you, chances are you'll find overtaking difficult if you have too much drag.
Fantastic. That was the fastest lap.
The grid is all set then for the race tomorrow. But before we go, let's quickly remind ourselves of our top three, who are a Haas, Vettel and Kimi Raikkonen. The grid is set then, so that just leaves the race itself. Join us tomorrow, where we'll be live with all the action. And until then, it's goodbye.
Hey, how are you? I have some information on the race goals you should keep in mind.
It's race day here in Italy once again. Monza, home to so many records. The smallest winning margin, for example. Do you remember in 1971, Peter Gethin beat Ronnie Peterson to the line by 1/100th of a second. There were 40 overtakes for the lead alone in 1965, and Kimi Raikkonen clocked a record top speed of 230 miles per hour here, just over a decade ago. So there's a lot to live up to then for all of our drivers today. With top speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour, few places can hope to touch Monza's crown as the fastest circuit in Formula One. Hard braking zones going into 3 chicanes make up the majority of the 11 corners on this 3.6-mile circuit. And just in case the slipstream wasn't enough, well, 2 DRS zones will help encourage some close action. It's a very tight turn 1 here and a very big braking zone. It's a corner, Anthony Davidson, where we've seen a number of lap 1 incidents in the past.
As you say, it's a very small piece of track when you have more than just one car trying to go through it. The actual run down towards the chicane is quite wide, so off the start, we'll often see drivers running 2 or maybe 3 abreast as they come up towards the braking zone. Everyone wants to brake late, of course, to win track position, and that tends to be where we see a lot of contact. And you'll see the more experienced drivers kind of hang back a little into here and focus more on picking up the pieces from other people's incidents.
You've done well to put it on pole, but we've still got work to do. Trying to cover the inside line off the start.
Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. It's Haas in pole position then, with Sebastian Vettel starting alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Raikkonen, Hamilton, Nico Rosberg and Grosjean, Kvyat, Ricciardo, Bottas and Max Verstappen, Hülkenberg, Massa, Sergio Perez and Sainz, Magnussen, Alonso, Jenson Button and Jolyon Palmer, Ericsson and Nasser, Rio Haryanto and Pascal Wehrlein completes the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
First position, front of the pack. Vettel behind, a 6-second gap separates you. They're on fresh wets. That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit stops. 2 laps left. Next time by will be your final lap. That's a race win and your second race win in a row. Fantastic job.
A great win then for the Haas team today. Tell me, Ant, what was the key to this success?
Rain always has the potential to liven up a race and mix up the order, and they've taken full advantage of that to claim the victory today. It's always a bit of a lottery when the conditions are like this, but they've managed to stay on circuit and have come out on top.
Well, I'm thoroughly exhausted after the excitement of that race, but I'm sure it's nothing compared to our drivers here. They've worked hard to make it up there, and it's great to see them make their way out onto the podium. And now let's take a look at the driver's standings. It's a good result for Lewis Hamilton, who moves further ahead at the top of the table. Moving on to the driver of the day then. Anthony Davidson, who would you go for?
Oh, well, I'm a bit spoilt for choice, Crofty. My instinct says Valtteri Bottas, and looking down the field, no one really jumps out at me to make me change my mind.
On to the constructors then. Mercedes have extended their lead at the top of the standings. It was also a strong Grand Prix from Haas F1 this weekend. Fantastic work from the American team to move themselves further up the table. After all that excitement, it's time for a lie down, I think. Thanks for joining us, and goodbye until the next race.